Hi. If you're thinking about leadership or management or both development, then this video is for you, especially if you are struggling with where do we start and, most importantly, how do we make it effective? And I'm going to give you a couple of really good places to start which solve or help solve the second question of how do you make it effective. You know, it may be the second question, but it's the most important question. And the first thing I'm going to say to you is, if you're thinking about hiring someone to train your people, to develop them, don't think of it that way. Think of it as I know that my leadership team need to be better skilled. And to be honest, let's be really open and honest, most people nowadays do not have the opportunity or haven't had the opportunity to have good leadership and management training. And leadership and management is one of the most complex things that you can think about in business because it involves people, and people are complex and they're strange. And when you have a team, you have a bunch of people who think differently, behave differently, have different expertise, and you've got to glue them together. You've got to make them productive. So this is a complex thing, but don't think of it as a training. Think of it as, I have some problems I need to solve and I have some goals I need to hit. How will my leaders and managers need to improve to be able to do these things? Because if you think about it in this way, rather than having a big curriculum to go, well, we need to go through all of this because that's what's in the training, you think, what's the right thing that they need to solve these problems and to hit these goals? So it becomes much more practical. And one of the biggest criticisms of any form of business training is, this is the curriculum, we go through the curriculum, you finish it, you may get a certificate, you may not, you did it in 2 days, you may do it in 6 months, but your business is doing other things while this training is going on, regardless. Monday night, Monday night, Monday night, and your business needs different things. And one person may need module 6 and somebody else may need module 18, and well, we're going to have to wait to do module 18 because we can't do that for the next 3 months because it's not booked in on the curriculum. Can you see why thinking of it as getting a training is probably not the best way of doing it? So that's why we do it in sprints, 3-month sprints. What is your problems? What are your goals? And what do you want to achieve in the next 3 months, which your leadership and management team need to be better at to make sure these things happen, to get the best out of their team and so on. So that's the first thing. Think of problems and outcomes and what do they need to make those happen. So that's the first thing. The second thing I suggest you think about is this. When I say to people, so how many leaders do you have in your organisation? What tends to be the response is, well, we have myself, and then we have the COO, or we have a VP of, or a senior this, and I get a list of people with job titles. And once they've gone through this, and it's 6 people or 10 people or 20 people, and then I ask, okay, let me get you to think of this question in a different way. How many of those people are natural leaders? And then the pause happens, because they may have the position of being in leadership, but are they natural leaders? And often the answer is, I don't know, or yeah, actually probably not many, and they give a number. So it's a very different question to how many leadership positions you have in an org chart compared to how many people are natural leaders who think like leaders, behave like leaders. And if you don't know whether they are or not, that's going to massively affect how you develop them. Then the next question is, how many of them are natural managers? And the same thing happens, I don't know. So some people are natural leaders, some people are natural managers, some people are both, some people are neither, but they will still be in your leadership and management positions for various different reasons. So the way you need to approach them and develop them and train them and educate them and support them and mentor them and coach them and all the different modalities needed to help them hit these goals and solve these problems is going to be different. So my advice is, look at the way people think and how they like to behave and what they naturally are good at, because it's very different to develop a natural leader into being an even better leader than it is to be someone who's not a leader but is in a leadership position. And this happens a lot, and it happens a lot with managers who are people who are in management positions, but they do not think like managers at all. But it happens a lot, and for various different reasons we can talk about if you want to get in touch. So to understand and discover who each of these people are is key, because what you then do with them to support them to get the best out of them is really important. Now the next thing comes from a great question that I was asked when I was explaining this very thing. Lovely lady said to me, how do you discover this without making people feel embarrassed at their weaknesses? I thought, that's a great question. And it's because it's not about strengths and weaknesses. It's about where are they most valuable to the business. So if they're most valuable doing a leadership role, how do we help them stay doing what they enjoy most, they're best at, and provide the most value to the business? And then that means you can look at how they work with other managers, and how good they are managing other managers. But also, really, it also means, well, let's look at their team and who's the most valuable person we can create to support them so they're working at their best. They're working at their best. And it's not about trying to make everybody good at everything, because that's impossible, because leaders think differently from managers. Sometimes it's the same thing for the same person, but there's a lot of variety in how people think. And what we have is a preference of how we like to think and how we like to operate. Some people are very creative. Some people love systems and methodical processes. For some people, that is just nightmare. So when you understand the person, you can get the best out of the most value to the business, and then we can support them with the right people and the right systems, and then you get the best out of everybody. So it's not about embarrassing anybody because you're good at this but no good at this. It's actually, and this is my experience, when people realize why they are not very good and don't enjoy a part of their job, and that tends to be neglected or a lot of problems happen because of it, it's a relief. They go, fantastic, yeah, this is where I'm at my best. And guess what? If you can spend most of your time doing what you love and what you're best at, chances are you'll do a better job and get better results, and you probably won't leave the company. Your retention problems will go down, and all sorts of magic, wonderful stuff happens because you're simply doing what you're best at and you love doing as much as possible. So these are the three things I suggest. First of all, it's not about creating a training for people to go on. It's about making sure that what we bring to you fits what you need for that period of time. And then guess what? You get the results. You're happy. Return on investment, because they've learned something that applies to these problems, to these goals, and they make it work. Second thing is, how do we find out what is their natural tendencies? Well, that's the first thing we always start with. Leader, manager, both, neither. Systems person, people person, neither, possibly. And then not say you've got weaknesses. It's actually, how do we make sure that you stay working at your strengths, so you're the most valuable person you can be to the company? And guess what? People are happy, good return on investment, and problems get solved, projects get accomplished. So that, I hope that helps you. I hope that is valuable to you. And if you want to discuss the approach and how to implement this and everything else we can do for you, just click on whatever you need to click, send us an email, get in touch, and we'd love to advise you and help you, because actually leadership and management is the glue that makes everybody else work at their best, and that solves problems and helps you hit goals. Thanks for your time, and hope to speak to you soon.